All right, bam, I'm in the house. Black Power is the general. Saqqara Seti, baby. And I'm black. Black again. Black again. Black again. Let me see how we looking out there. About to put that serious work in this evening. About to put some serious work in this evening. Exposing all frauds. Yes, I will be doing that. Exposing fraudulent information, as I always do. You feel me? That's right. I have to do that. I have to do that. Make sure my moderators is in the house. Got to make sure because I'm gonna be hurting some felons and shit. And so I got to have my moderators on deck. Hit that guillotine on you Negroes. Django. That's it. That's all I got to see. That's all I got to see. That's all I got to see. You already know what that means. Guillotine. Nigga sneeze and shit your ass up out of there. Straight up. We in the house. We're gonna be talking about the Mississippi Mound builders this evening. You know what I'm saying? Very in need to do that because that part of history has been exploited by fraudulent individuals. You know, not explaining it from the proper perspective. You know what I'm saying? Of who, gave the Mississippi Mound builders the blueprint. You understand what I'm saying? To do what they did. Sitting up here watching goddamn documentaries, I already, it's just when I look at history, I've been studying history for so long. And then when I go, anywhere I go in the world, it's a formula where I just go in and I just dissect a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And been studying cultures all around the world for so long. You understand what I'm saying? It's all if you give me at least a day or two, I've been figured out the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? I could continue to add on it on to the blueprint over a course of time, but it ain't gonna be long to where I know where the information come from, who's the authors, by looking at certain components of the culture. You know what I'm saying? That's how you really know, who's formulating the culture. You know what I'm saying? As you study history, you're gonna see that, it's one basic blueprint to civilization. And that's the one the Africans put down. And you can see whether, and they mastered it to a point where it ain't too much you can add to it. You know what I'm saying? You put your own, your own design on top of it. But at the same, that's the icing, nigga. But the cake is the cake. You know what I'm saying? And so, I hear a lot of people saying that, the Nile is the Mississippi. And, once you understand that our people are river people, when you look at all over Africa and all over the global African world, even going into Southern Asia, you understand they primarily set up on rivers. You understand what I'm saying? Africa is a continent full of rivers. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's the Nile, whether it's the Niger, whether it's the Congo, and many more, other rivers in Africa. The Limpopo, the Orange River, the Zambezi. You see what I'm saying? And so you're going to see that most people you know, because the river, number one, is a highway. And then also, you're going to get, you know, your fishing, you know what I'm saying? You're going to, you know, when you start to build a state, you know, city states, and you know, you are trading and shit, you develop on them rivers, and it's easier for you to transport. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, it wasn't hard for our people when they migrated to other areas for them to set up shop, you know, because they was already familiar with, you know, formulating civilizations and cultures on rivers. So whether you go to India and it's the Indus and the Ganges, you see what I'm saying? You go back to the Nile, you know, Niger, the Congo. Then you come to the Americas, you know what I'm saying? And you got the great Amazon, you got the Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? And so you'll see that the same cultural traits, you know what I'm saying, you know, will be transported from one culture to the next. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I kept hearing this Mississippi, and I, you know, like I say, I took my time to formulate the plan. But once, you know, once I get in there, you know, I got you. You ain't gonna flee from me. You know what I'm saying? Because I done studied damn near every ancient culture in the world, and I studied them to the point, you know what I'm saying, that I done, you know, formulated a skeleton on that civilization to the point that nobody can play with me on the origins of where it come from. You know, and so a lot of people tend to try to get away with giving Africa its credit. You see what I'm saying? It's so silly of you. You just some neutralized Negro. And you know what I'm saying? And when people see, the thing is, and a lot of people out there gonna have to learn this, that if you don't know, don't act like you know. Because when a nigga like me come through and sweep your ass up, it's gonna show that you didn't know what the fuck you was talking about from the jump. You know what I'm saying? I specialize in this shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. You can see me thugging, you can see me hood, you know, hood nigga, this, that, and the third, but still intellectual. But don't play with me at all. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't gonna take long, because number one, I've been studying, you know, master teachers now for over 30 years. You know what I'm saying? That right there is just, you know, that's my, you know, that's the phenomenal blueprint of Saqqara and Seti. So I already done read so much information to where when I do get ready to go in there and dissect you, I already got a heavy blueprint. Okay? This ain't just no jaw jacking when niggas go up there and go on the motherfucking internet, you know what I'm saying, and getting some goddamn fabricated bootleg ass information, and ain't done, you know, and on top of the 30 years, you know what I'm saying, I done been to damn near five ancient cultures, you know what I'm saying, so I got field research, you know what I'm saying, that's too heavy. You know what I'm saying? People play games and shit and act like, this is just, you could go and Google. No, it's all right to get some basic information off of Google, but you're not going to learn no African history from no goddamn Google. You know what I'm saying? That's reference shit. You know what I'm saying? You still got to study the master teachers. You know, they the ones that going to open you up to all them magnificent works that you need to be studying, and in order to further your understanding and knowledge on these areas. You know what I'm saying? So long before, I was studying, and I've been studying the Olmecs now damn near 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And so, even though I'm in certain areas, I might not, primarily been in like the Inca, even though I knew of the Inca, You know what I'm saying? As soon as I start to see, and pull it open much deeper, I say, okay, let me zoom in on the Inca. You know what I'm saying? Zoom, boom, boom. And see, I've been studying architecture and sculpt, and not just the architecture, the spiritual icon. You know what I'm saying? So, when that shit get to popping up, I already know. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's more, the combinations and, is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 similarities and not just similarities between one culture, but 3 and 4 cultures and shit, where you see that they got a common origin. The world civilizations got a common origin, and so you see the same symbolisms in not only Ethiopia, but Egypt, India. You see it even in some of the smallest cultures. You see what I'm saying? So it's no doubt, but this is what the masters had already said, that Egypt was the mother culture. Ethiopia, Egypt was the mother culture. And everybody sat down and got their wisdom from this, and if they didn't get it directly, they got it indirectly. And that's facts. You know what I'm saying? So, the thing is that, when I'm looking at the Western civilization, which means North America, Middle America, South America, that the fact is that the Olmecs civilized both continents. You understand what I'm saying? That's facts. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Because, that's too much for them to take. To say that the Olmecs, and directly and indirectly influenced the whole of North and South, Middle, and they central point was in what you call the Gulf of Mexico. But they hand, just like Egypt. You see what I'm saying? Egypt's, core, area was Waset, where you see the temple of Karnak, Luxor. You know what I'm saying? That was the heart, and you got Memphis too. You know what I'm saying? But they hand went all over, down the Nile. You understand? All the way to Somalia, and then they hand went all across Northern Africa. You know what I'm saying? Because what you call the Carthaginian, is nothing but an extension of Egypt. And so the Carthaginians did a lot of shipping on the Mediterranean, and not just the Mediterranean, all around Africa. And so the Egyptians, so Carthage is nothing but another state extension or state of the Nile Valley. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm looking at the Olmecs and, and knowing the Olmecs, studying, or soon as I see, the keys to, because studying the culture is just iconic symbols that always come up when you're dealing with the Olmecs. The fact that, when we talk about the jaguar, that's Olmec. Before the Mayan and shit, and you got to understand that the Mayans and, the Incas, the Aztec, they no different than an American Indian. You see what I'm saying? And if it had not been for the Olmecs who came from the Nile, now I know a lot of people, they tend to look at West Africa and, but it's key that the icons of Olmec, when you're talking about the architecture and even the designs of the architect, not just the pyramids, but the pyramid complex. See, that's even key, even more key. You're not just talking about the pyramid, you talking about the pyramid complex, how the pyramids was aligned, and how it was laid out geometrically. You know what I'm saying? You'll see that the sacred oblong, which is the square, a rectangle, you know what I'm saying? Which went all across. When you look at the Egyptian temple and you see it on the oblong, which is a rectangle, I think it's long. If I'm not mistaken. North and south, and then it's short. It's half to say if it's 180 north and south, then it's 90 east and west, which is a rectangle. You see what I'm saying? Which is a rectangle. And so you will see that that basic blueprint went all around the world. It's no fucking doubt. That alone, and people just took out the ground plan of most temples around the whole world. You will see that they own the Egyptian temple blueprint, and there's no doubt about it. That fact alone. But see, a lot of people don't want to bring that up. You understand? I bring it up because I'm a brother. I'm a brother of the craft. And this is where you are taught to study everything and master everything about ancient Egypt. Not just, the spiritual aspect, but even the the geometry, the mathematical dimensions of the temple. You understand the directions in which, the holies of holies is facing, and a lot of times in the temples, the holies of holies is facing south. You know what I'm saying? Because the Africans, the Egyptians came from the south. So when I was looking at the Inca, and you can see that not only Egyptian, but Nubian and Oxumite culture is in the Americas. Okay, because at that time, when the Olmecs was coming on the scene, yeah, Egypt was still a great nation, but Nubia was also reaching, a climax, with the 25th dynasty, and then later, you know what I'm saying, Aksum would rise up. And it's some, uniqueness in Aksumite architecture, but it's basically building on the blueprint of Egypt. There's no doubt about it. And in certain areas, it surpassed Egypt. Like with the building of the Aksumite Stela, which is over 500 tons. So that obelisk that you see in Ethiopia is the largest obelisk ever raised on the planet, including Egypt. So you talking about megalithic building, you know what I'm saying? And it's not too many people that, when you're talking about megalithic building, man, you talking about cutting that shit out of one stone, you know what I'm saying? So, you imagine, 500 tons, and you got to raise that motherfucker up, and then you got to sell it to wherever you're going. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, them great obelisks and, monuments was cut in southern Egypt, southern Nubia. You understand what I'm saying? Now, some of them stones on the Great Pyramid that come from Aswan. That's over 800 miles from Giza Plateau. So you got to imagine they selling, these large, 100-ton, 200-ton blocks up that river. So now you're dealing with so many complex sciences because you got to have shipping. You have to develop ships. You ain't gonna do that on no damn canoe. And so even when you're dealing with the Olmec, see, that's advancement that would take hundreds and thousands of years to develop. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the development. You know what I'm saying? You can see the development. And even in Egypt, you see how they start with the mastodons and they develop up. You know what I'm saying? So you see full development in Egypt. You see them start small. You see them start to stack the mastodons, and start to develop skyscrapers. And then you even see them go past that into the super megalithic, pyramids like the Red Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, and the three pyramids at Giza, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure. You see what I'm saying? And, it was development even before that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're looking and I got a lot of slides to show you, but I'm gonna warm you up. You know what I'm saying? It's no way you just gonna, you'll see the development. Now in the Nile, I mean in the Americas with the Olmecs, see you didn't see that they came building large from the jump. You see, you don't see no development. So what is that telling you? That the development had already taken place somewhere else because they came fully developed. Now they didn't build on the level of the Nile Valley Africans because you dealing with a complex system in Africa where you got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of trained Africans that been dealing with that type of, high science, engineering, medicine for hundreds of thousands a year. So you got a population of highly developed Africans, in the millions. So when they came across this water, they didn't have that population. So you know what I'm saying? They could not build on the level of the Africans in the Nile Valley. And I'm gonna just show because I have to spank ass. Because if you don't know, you should not come in this arena. I have to do that and set the record straight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people is into Mayanism. And like I said, that shit shouldn't even exist anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because Mayanism was, they developed, they try to promote that the Mayans is the most advanced and the most ancient civilization on the planet, which is ridiculous. Anybody that's, studying this shit seriously and pulling the whole culture apart would know that, come on, man, do yourself better than that. You know what I'm saying? You can, because if I show up and pull that shit apart in front of your face, it's going to show you didn't know what the fuck you was talking about from the jump. And I have to say that because a lot of people out here is trying to take the credit of Africa away, from developing all cultures on this planet. It wouldn't be not one. I don't give a fuck what other so-called culture, whether it be Greek, whether it be Roman, whether that motherfucker be Indian, Chinese, whether it be Olmec, whether it be Mayan, this, that, and the third, all of them cultures descend from the intellect of the Nile Valley. And you could put all of them together and they will not they will not add up to 1/10 of the wisdom that came about the Nile. So, for people to say, and I hear this, but I got to say it because, and make an example out of people, when they say that the Mayans are the oldest culture. And then when I go in and show you this very elementary architecture, it ain't even really architecture. And I'm going to show you that. It's a particular style, but they don't even consider the shit, what you call freestanding structures. And we're going to look that up. And so you know what a freestanding structure is. I looked up freestanding structure and none of the fucking Olmec or the Mayan pyramids are on that list. Because in order to be a freestanding structure, you can't have no support. And so when you understand that, majority of the mounds and that, and that's where the Olmecs, our African family, they had to improvise, not having the millions of elevated skilled laborers in the Nile Valley. They had to improvise. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have the labor. You understand what I'm saying? So what did they do? They just built mounds. And then when they constructed the mound, they put a mortar outer casing around it. But the fact that you could go, and I'm going to show this, the fact that you could go inside of it and it's a mound and it's rubble and shit, to give them some support and they built around it, it's not a freestanding structure. So the fact that niggas would say that the Mayans is older at what playing in the dirt. That's all that is. You're not, and when I show you that they didn't even have smooth stone. Now these is our people, but nevertheless, I have to show, the level of ingenuity of the Africans. The ingenuity of the Africans was so so shocking to the mind that people would say aliens built the shit. Okay, and peoples are still wondering today how they done it. So when you go over there to the Mayan and the Olmec, and let me quit saying Mayan, but the fact that's what they say. They don't, the Mayanism, really came along before the Olmecs even was, discovered. So, Mayanism is outdated. And really, when you say that the Mayans, in the whole, existed before, you outdated. You're outdated. Because that's, Le Plongeon, Cat, they even, most scholars, even Indian scholars, American Indian scholars been refuted him. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's who we showing you where that, false fraudulent, blueprint comes from. No Africans ever created that. You know what I'm saying? And when you go deeper, it's going to stand into Madame Blavatsky, Edgar Casey, and all these crackpots and shit that's coming up with all this Atlantis and Lemurian shit. It's just an extension of that. You know what I'm saying? So today, we're going to get off into the Mississippian Mound bit because we're going to see that, the Olmecs not only went south and formulated Incan civilization, and I'm going to show you, tomorrow how they went into Guatemala and Belize and shit. And see, they slick because they won't even identify that as Olmec, even though they say it's Olmec. They calling it something other than Olmec so you wouldn't make the connection. That's crazy. And as soon as you see it, and you're going to know it's Olmec. In the literature, they write that it's Olmec, but they don't call it Olmec. They call it by another name. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep you confused and understanding that the Africans started civilization and high culture in not only what they call Middle America, but South and North America. The Mississippi Mound is an extension of the Olmecs. That's exactly what it is. And you're going to see that the mound, the Olmecs, started the mound building. That's who started it. But they were more advanced where they could put outer casings around because they were more developed. And so those that didn't have the ability to put the outer casing around it, they just had the mound. You see what I'm saying? So people, it's a blueprint for everything, and it's not just the mound. It's the mound complex. How it's lined up. You understand what I'm saying? And you're gonna see that even though that it's a mound, it's no different than the Olmec complex. You know what I'm saying? How the mound was lined up, how they had tributaries on the sides, that you got the ceremonial courtyard that's right in front of the mound. Listen, when I show you this, you're gonna be like, God damn, this nigga Seti is a beast. He's a beast. And I don't want to blow my horn, but shit, somebody need to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Because the way that we waking the BPC, General Saqqara and Seti, waking niggas up with facts. I don't spit none that I ain't gonna show you and prove. You go do your research and you come back, tell me I'm a lie. That's all I want, and you ain't qualified to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna just come with one or two things. I be trying not to put so much shit up here because, nigga, this is worldwide, this world-renowned research here. You know what I'm saying? Where you get this shit like that? you know what I'm saying, for free. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming up here, you know, rocking niggas' world literally for free. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be laughing at niggas when they thinking that they can pawn off on the people such outdated ideas. This shit is, and so family, today we dealing with the Mississippi Mound builders. That was my warm up. Let family know where we going today. I'm already juiced up for this. I already got everything I need right here for the family. Y'all buckle in. Y'all buckle in. Let me, you know what? Where's my clicker? God damn it, I think I left it in there. I ain't gonna go get it. I'll do it manually. How we doing out there? I'm about to go in, y'all. Y'all good out there? Let me see. Let me check. Uh-oh, Patah in the house too. I know y'all was in the house. Get the Mississippi. Uh-oh, Patah in the house. Django, my two Lion Kings. I know a nigga won't even sneeze on that motherfucker with them two African kings on there. You won't even get a motherfucker to sneeze. All right. Okay, everybody is in the house. All right, let's go, y'all. I just wanted to make sure everybody good. Let's get best. Get that paper. Get that paper. Write this shit down. You know what I'm saying? Write this shit down. Because all my team, I always, you know, I push my team. So I want y'all to write this shit down, and I want y'all to write the key points down, you know, because I don't hear them niggas out there saying shit. Because I know y'all taking what I'm giving y'all, doing that research, mastering it, get that understanding where you can spit that fire when you need. Man, I know y'all got them niggas on the run. I know y'all do. You know, I be laughing and shit. When I know the effect. When I don't hear shit. You know what I'm saying? And listen, and I'm about to get up. I keep a little radar of, and listen, they don't want no smoke with this team over here. They don't want no smoke. They'll go get the littlest nigga that they can who ain't done no extensive research. You know what I'm saying? And they'll go, play fight with them niggas. But they do not bring that shit over here. They don't want no smoke because they know we heavy. They know we heavy and getting heavier in this. By the end of this year, everybody on my team, they gonna be extraordinary teachers of Olmec culture. No doubt about it. Now that I want you to continue, I'm gonna give you some books. As you read and go over these, make sure you're still getting books on any book you think is worthy on the Olmec. Get that shit and add it to this. You see what I'm saying? And I don't see you being nothing less than a master student on the way to be a master teacher. I don't get no niggas, no master teacher, all that. Master student. And that's his degrade, because if you a master student and you know how to, that's almost better than being a master teacher. Shit, because, you know what I'm saying? It's damn near the same thing, because once you know how to research and go in there and get that information, you know what I'm saying? You's a beast in any field you want to be in. So let's get this shit started. Let's get this shit started. Let's get this shit started. I'm gonna start right here. And then I'll work my way down. And y'all know we got the jump off over there on the General Seti page after this. So I'm gonna be going in on the Lalibela, the churches of Lalibela and Colossia Temple in India, and some more temples where we dealing with the rock cut or rock hewn architecture to also prove beyond any reasonable doubt that this is one Kushite family And I want y'all to, because that's going to be extraordinary too. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, family. Now, we're looking at the map of the Gulf of Mexico. And it's very, they always try to show the Olmecs, and the earliest part of their culture was in this area where you see down there Veracruz, you know what I'm saying, Puebla, you understand what I'm saying? Right along the coastline, Lorenzo, San Lorenzo, you understand, Transatlantic. Okay, these are some of the earlier capitals of the Olmec. And the thing is, they're outlined on most maps. And so you got to be careful of that. If you studying this, your culture like the general, you always looking for maps that's gonna help you to explain your perspective. You see what I'm saying? And there are maps out there that don't just give you the heartland. They show you all the areas that the Olmecs influence. Now, again, you got to understand that the Aztec, the Mayan, the Incan is no different than what they call the Native American Indian. Okay? They are the same racial type. Okay? And you got to understand that the Olmecs is the jump off. Those who was closest to the Olmecs became the most advanced of the Native American so-called Indians. Okay? And so when you looking at even the Mississippi Mound building, we got to understand that it started in the South, okay? A majority of them started near this Gulf of Mexico coastline. If you're dealing with so-called Poverty Point, and which they call the earliest of the cities, that's in the South. That's right there, if I'm not mistaken, in Louisiana. Okay, right there, in the Delta region of the Mississippi, and it goes from south to north. Okay, it moves from out of the southern states, in relationship to the Mississippi River up into Ohio. Okay, and so that's the route that the Mississippi or the mound builders of North America, this is the development route of those builders. They come from the south and move up north. So you got to see that the Gulf of Mexico is the jump off. Okay, and we got to understand, we went over the fact that, the Olmecs was not just in the Gulf or off the Atlantic, that they control both sides of Middle America. So they had an Atlantic Ocean front and a Pacific Ocean front, okay? And we go get even deeper, because the Olmecs came into the Gulf of Mexico. They had to pass a lot of them, them islands, in the Caribbean. You understand what I'm saying? So it's gonna be hard for me to believe that, that there isn't some form of mound building or a pyramid building in some of them islands. Okay, it's gonna be hard for me to believe. A lot of that probably been swept up under the rug, just like a lot of this information been swept up under the rug. So you can see from the ocean currents, and you got to study that. You understand what I'm saying? Because these is the same currents that they've been using for thousands and thousands of years. They have not changed. You see what I'm saying? And so you can see that you could take the south equatorial current, which is more close to the bottom. You see what I'm saying? And you see that it'll bring you straight from Africa, straight on across to Brazil, northern Brazil. You see what I'm saying? It goes up the coastline of South America straight into the Caribbean. And then if you see up there is loops where it'll take you from right out of the Caribbean, around Cuba up the east coast of what we call United States of America. You understand what I'm saying? And if you keep going, the Gulf Stream will bring you right around. You see what you got the Azores current that'll bring you right back into the Mediterranean. You see what I'm saying? So our African ancestors, who were the masters of shipbuilding, masters of rivers, lakes, seas, and oceans, had charted out the oceans of the world. Listen, hundreds of thousands of years before the European, the Indian, or any straight-haired branch or that Caucasoid race or Dravidian race, okay, with that straight hair. They wasn't even on the scenes yet. You see what I'm saying? And African people had probably, whole eras, epochs of, hundreds of thousands of years probably passed, and new ones rose and fell and rose and fell before these people even came on the scene. You see what I'm saying? So they tried to sweep under the rug how ancient African people are, because they are ashamed at the fact that African people been laying down civilization for so long, and they just really stood up on, two legs for the first time in the last 2,000 years. So the European Thor Heyerdahl, you know what I'm saying? Who I think he was out in one of them, either he was from Switzerland, Netherlands, one of the two. Okay, you can look at his name, Thor Heyerdahl. You can see he's a Nordic. You see what I'm saying? So I think he was either from, the Netherlands. And so he had these theories that the Egyptians, because once you study the Olmec culture, you see that it's Egyptian in Ethiopia. The pyramid, the sarcophagus, the stela, you understand? The spirituality was so much the same to, you're going to say, well, damn, could the Egyptians make it across the Atlantic Ocean? So he had some brothers from Chad. I think they were from Chad. He brought them to Egypt, and they constructed that boat. Africans recreated an Egyptian boat. And let me see, is the map. Do they got the map? Where the map at? Where the map at? Where they came across? Let me bring it up. Hold on. I should have had it right there. I want to, we have to see this. We don't want to second guess, you know what I'm saying? What in the capabilities of our ancestors. Let me see where it's at down here. I got a map. Y'all see the general stack. I'm cleaning this shit up too. Getting it all, you know what I'm saying? No nigga ready to go to war with me. Nigga, I got atomic bomb. Okay, I get it for the next time. I should have had it in there, but the fact is that he made it across. He made it across. You know what I'm saying? He had 2 attempts. And matter of fact, here it go. Here it go, right here. See what I'm saying? I know the ancestors was gonna help me out. Okay, so the first was Ra 1. Okay, and he sailed that one in July 18th, 1969. So they sailed it from Morocco. I think he sailed it from Morocco. And the first time they made it almost, you see where the X is. So they made it damn near 3/4 of the way. The second time, they made it all the way to Barbados. And you see, that's an Egyptian ship. And that ain't even the largest Egyptian ship. Okay? Let's be clear about that. So when we say, could the Egyptians have made it? Okay, it's been proven that they could make it. And then you had other Africans, such as what's the brother from Mali? Mansa Musa's brother, Abubakari. Abubakari sailed to the Americas. And from my understanding, he took thousands of ships. You see what I'm saying? He took hundreds of ships, if I'm not thousands, but hundreds. He was close to 1,000 ships. So, so the Africans been coming across that ocean because they know the currents. And you can see that they knew the currents because they got in the current. You understand what I'm saying? So the fact is, we know that the family could make it over here, okay? And not only could they make it over here, you see in Bolivia, look at this. And I did this over 10 years ago when I was just doing research. I'm looking for the source of the culture now. Now, I already know what the Egyptian boat looked like. So when I saw this shit, I say, wait a minute. I was just by chance fumbled on the photo. And once you study for so long, it's registered in your brain. So soon as I saw it, I said, wait a minute. That's a fucking Egyptian ship. You see what I'm saying? And when you look at the design, ain't no fucking doubt about it. Okay, ain't no coincidence that you're gonna you're gonna read boats and shit. You know what I'm saying? You can even look at the top portion where it look like a smaller, you got the bigger stalks for the main part of the boat, but then you look at the top where it's still a stalk, but it's not as thick as the one that make the two biggest parts of the boat. So you can see right there that there's no fucking coincidence. Okay, that's facts. Okay, so we know who developed it first. Ain't no damn doubt about it, because the thing about the Egyptians, people try to say, well, the Mayans, and this, that, and the third started first. When you look at Egypt was so advanced on all levels of science and architecture. And you know what I'm saying? So when you look at the pyramids, they was also carving just megalithic statues. Not just the pyramid, but the rock hewn where they just cut into the mountain and carved, the building straight out of the mountain without even using blocks and bricks. They just carved down into it's like reverse development, reverse architectural engineering, where you're not using blocks or bricks. You just carving the mountain down into the design that you got, blueprinted out. So you just carve, and you can't make no fucking mistake. You know what I'm saying? And to see some of the buildings, and people don't understand that they were carving into the mountains before they even built the pyramid. So people want to know, how did they advance so, to the point where they were able to build like that? They were already cutting into them damn mountains, is what they. So when you look at the Valley of the Kings and that's rock hewn, where they didn't build temples into the mountain. They didn't, and so they cut the temple and got the blueprint and cut the temple directly into the mountain. So this was one of the first forms of architecture. So no other culture was evenly advanced in all sciences. So how the hell you say that, and you never see that's one thing you just do not see in America. You don't see heavy stone or granite or freestanding structures. So when you say that they came first at what? That's what I'm trying to be clear at. what the fuck are you saying they were at playing in the dirt? Because these are not freestanding structures. And if you go look up freestanding structures in the world, no American pyramid will be on the list. You know why? Because they got support. In order to be, when you look at the pyramids of Khufu, Khafra, Menkaure, the Red, those are freestanding structures. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing is, the blocks are supporting each other. There's no mud mounds or none of that to help to support the mother. So they are being very disingenuous. Even calling a mound is not a fucking pyramid. Okay, goddamn, man, we got to have the basic understanding of geometry. And when you understand a damn pyramid is a triangle, and when you understand what it takes to build a damn pyramid, and knowing, how, the math of a triangle, and however each side is even, and the square base for it to come up to an apex. You understand what I'm saying? From that base, and you calling mounds and shit pyramid, and saying that these mounds are bigger than the goddamn Great Pyramid, it's dirt. Goddamn, a motherfucker could pile all the dirt up he wants. And I'll give you credit for it, because our ancestors had to improvise because they did not have a level of skill masons to even pull some shit off like that. They didn't have that, so they improvised and used mounds, okay? But don't ever, because that is not even masonry. So I don't, when people say Mayans started first, to me, it presupposes that they brought pyramids to Egypt. And these is two different, and one ain't, I'm trying to say architecture, but a mound ain't motherfucking architecture. Okay, just because you put an outer casing around them, and like I say, that even still took great, advancement to even do that. But you know what I'm saying? Nobody is wondering how they put them and you can see how them pyramids in the Americas get to falling down and shit, because the grass get to growing up through that shit, and this, that, and the third. And the rub, because it's just a thin outer land, eventually that shit break off and fall down, and ain't nothing left but the goddamn mound. So it's disingenuous for motherfuckers to say that the Mayans came first. You understand? It's just disingenuous. Anybody that understands architecture would know that that's disingenuous, and you don't know what the fuck you talking about. Okay, so when you look here, you're looking at New Orleans, B, which is where it started at. This is where the mound building started in the South, and it developed and moved north. So we understand that is the starting point is on the Gulf. And we got to understand that the Olmec's hand, you know what I'm saying, extended far into what you call North America. Y'all got to understand that, again, that the Aztec, the Mayan, the Incan is an American Indian. And as they were getting taught, they was also bringing, technology that they learned from the Olmecs up to the Indians that's on the continent of North America. So this is how they started that mound bit. I hear stories where they talking about this is, Poverty Point was the first hunter-gatherer culture that ever built a city in the world. Ain't no motherfucker just gonna up and build no goddamn city. And when you see the layout of the complex, you will see that it's Olmec. Goddamn, man, ain't nobody, y'all got to quit letting these goddamn people talk you out of your power and your history. So again, you see here in the Gulf, and you see the Mississippi Mound building. And not only was they started in the South, you see they was on the East. You really didn't see them, and they were probably all, they probably drifted west, but you see the heart of it is right above the Gulf of Mexico. on the East Coast. Okay, you got to look at the proximity of the Mississippi. And so you see the Aztecs is right there. So if you really color it in, you will see from Guatemala all the way around to Florida, Mississippi. The whole Gulf was influenced by the Olmecs. Okay, the whole Gulf was influenced, and they were not just on the Atlantic; they was on the Pacific too. Okay, and that they influenced all the way down to Peru, Chile, on the west coast of South America. Okay, so now we're looking at, so you understand this, that the states that that are part of, they wasn't there. This is before the Spanish. This was before the English, the French came over. So you will see, even though there are different tribes, different nations, racially, the Sioux, the Crow, the Creek, the Seminole is no different than the Aztec or Incan fucking Mayan. Okay, even though they're different nations, they are all racially one type. Okay, and then I'm gonna tell y'all something. These peoples are trying, and I'm gonna crack their head with all these fraudulent Mexicans they trying to put against the Olmec statues. I'm gonna break that shit down and show you up close that shit don't even look any close to the statues of the Olmec. Okay, I'm gonna show people that they trying to do some slick shit, and you look and you not really studying it and showing, the primary features of these Olmecs. And so people's is putting this shit up here, trying to say, oh, these is Mexican faces. That's a goddamn lie. Ain't now one of them a Mexican face. And the fact is, they always lead a majority of the maps will leave Olmecs off. And why would they do that? If they really saw the Olmecs as a part of their culture, they would venerate it. You understand what I'm saying? They would celebrate that. But the fact that they know, I don't give a goddamn how many puffy-faced Mexicans they try to put next to an Olmec head, 99.9% of the people who see that statue for the first time and ain't got to have a lick of fucking information about who it is would assume 99.9% of the people who see it for the first time will assume that it's an African. And so that enigma alone, it hurt them. You understand what I'm saying? So they'll lead the Olmec off, even though they know the Olmec is the mother culture. How the fuck is you gonna lead the Olmecs off the damn map? And they the mother brought hieroglyph, brought the language, brought the calendar, even the ball playing, where they show motherfucker, and they always show you the Olmecs one brought the ball game. They brought the ball game where you have to knock the ball through the hole. That's what, the Olmecs was called the rubber people. So they was the ones that developed the ball for them to even play with. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of shit that they accredit to the Mayan is actually the Olmec. And again, why would they leave the Olmec off of the goddamn maps? Damn near 75% of the time, it won't even, like this one, ain't even got the Olmec on there. Okay, ain't even got them Olmec on there. I got to put it on there. You understand what I'm saying? So if they considered the Olmec to be Indian, they would venerate it. So that's an enigma for them. And so they would rather just leave the shit off the map than have to explain how the Africans came over and brought civilization to North, South, and Middle America. Let me move through this. So we're looking at, a lot of the mounds and throughout, and these is, like I say, when we get up close, and you can see that is emanating from the south, and then it moves up north. Okay, it moves up north. I mean, you see it's right on the coastline of the Gulf of Mexico, which is dominated by the Olmecs. Dominated. Okay. Again, now United States, we got to understand that the United States and Mexico is one landmass. I'm gonna go back to them. That was just to show y'all, give a quick briefing, and we're gonna get up close and personal with these mounds, and not just the mound complex. So when you see the layout, and we put it next to, when I put these Egyptian and Olmec pyramid complexes next to the damn mounds, you're gonna see it's actually the same fucking complex. So it's disingenuous to say these people just started without, how the fuck is a hunter-gatherer just gonna start a goddamn city? It takes a certain level of architectural know-how, city planning. You understand what I'm saying? That takes a certain level of development. You understand? You could go all over the world. It's just certain motherfuckers that cannot do it. You understand what I'm saying? They ass will stay in the hunter-gatherer stage, and that's okay. You understand what I'm saying? But it takes a certain level of trained individuals in a number of sciences and arts to be able to pull a city off. Okay, and I just went over there that the Mayan, Aztec, Inca, and American Indian is one racial type. Is it a coincidence that those Indian groups closest to the Olmec were the most advanced in all the Indian world? Is it a coincidence? Okay, the Mississippian and Aztec cultures to the north, Mayan and Incan to the south. Okay, so when you see right here, you got to understand that a majority of them so-called Mayan, they'll show you that ain't got shit to do with them. You understand what I'm saying? They came upon those pyramids. Okay, them pyramids were already constructed. A lot of what they call in Mayan is originally Olmec, before the Mayan even got there. So that's a disingenuous map right there. Okay, that's a disingenuous map right there, because the Mayan didn't come into damn near, the AD period. So the Olmecs were already there 2,000-3,000 years before the Mayans even showed up. So that's disingenuous. Okay, how is it that the greatest of the so-called Native American nations, tribes, Mayan, Aztecs, were those closest to the Olmec center? And that goes for the Mississippi mound builders too. Okay, how is it a coincidence that they started in the south on the peripheral of the Gulf of Mexico? Okay, we got the and once, like I say, many of the maps will just show you the Olmecs on the Atlantic, on the Gulf of Mexico. They won't show you that they also extended, ain't no damn, all that shit should be colored. The whole goddamn Mexican nation should be colored for the Olmec all the way down to goddamn Chile. That means including goddamn Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Panama, goddamn it, the northern portions of South America, okay, and Colombia, all of that. The Olmecs had their hands in that, okay? So when you looking at, and a lot of people got to look, ain't no states and shit like you see today, where the Spanish come in and call the lower portion Mexico, and the French and the English come over and take portions of it and call the top portion French Louisiana, and then the English come and take port, and then it becomes the United States. And before the European got there, it was one land, and it's still one land mass. But there was no real, where you got, states that just, certain areas where, but this is all one racial type, okay? And the Olmecs was the capital of Mexico and what you call United States, the whole land mass, okay? Not just down there. And we got to understand that, okay? So when we look in the Pacific front gate of Olmec's access to the East Coast of South America, and as you can see, because we already showed that they had they were masters of the seas, of the ocean. So they had, because they already come from Africa, where they mastered rivers, from the Niger, from the Nile, from the Congo, Limpopo, the Zambezi, and more and more rivers in Africa. It was easy for them to come over and get on that Nile River and go up that river and show their ass how it's supposed to go. You understand what I'm saying? And they did that. Okay, they didn't have them mound building complex. Those were nothing but, elementary complexes of the Olmecs. That's all it was. Let me come out. I don't want to go to this. So this is this is La Venta. Now they found about and I got the pictures. You know what I'm saying? They found the mound. Now, as you can see, this is the oldest pyramid in the Americas. Okay, this is at La Venta in Mexico. This is the Olmec. And so as you can see, it's a mound, but it had an outer casing around it. So let's be clear, the Olmec started mound building in the Americas. Okay, let's be clear about that. And you're gonna see, and you see how they laid it out. As you look right in front of the mound, you see a ceremonial courtyard. And they would perform ceremonies here. It would, I don't know where the altar, mound A in the middle of the ceremony, which is in red, probably had an altar there where they perform ceremonies. Okay, because this is a holy area. Okay, and this is no different than Saqqara or any of the pyramids in Egypt or Ethiopia. So now, when you look at this, supposed to be Cahokia. Okay, this is in near St. Louis, and Cahokia was probably the largest city in the Americas ever. Okay, up until the time where Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, surpassed it. I think it was over 40,000 people that lived in this area. And you can look it up. It's spelled C-O. I got to get it. It's in there. It's in there. I'm gonna spell it out. But when you look at it and you see the design, this is a recreation, and you go back, you can see it's the same fucking blueprint of La Venta in Mexico. Okay, the basic blueprint is an oblong. First and foremost, it's on the rectangle. Okay, and then you got the pyramid there. You see what I'm saying? Which is the mound, and I'm gonna show you the different levels and this, that, and the third. That's Olmec. You got mounds in Mexico, Guatemala, this, that, and the third that's designed exactly like the Cahokia and all the mounds in the Americas. So it's disingenuous for them to act like they don't know where the fuck it come from. Okay? Who's the authors of it? Now, when you look, see, this is an Olmec building. And as you can see, it got a mound in the middle of it. Okay, but the Africans were more advanced than any other people. They was able to put a mortar outer casing on it. Okay, these are not the blocks of the pyramids in Egypt. These are small stones in mortar. Okay, and they put them in mortar and put it around the mound. But that's not gonna last forever. That's why you see the top has come off. This, that, and that's not going to last forever. So this is not a freestanding structure. So when people say, oh, there were bigger pyramids in the, no, motherfucker, it was bigger dirt mounds. That's what the fuck you trying to say. Because these is earthworks with an outer casing. Okay, goddamn, man, you Negroes, and then y'all niggas talking about that they older. Older what? Older, and they not older. That's a damn lie, because we can show and prove, because the North American mounds, they didn't have those communities, did not understand stone. You never found any stone on any of them damn mounds. okay, because they didn't know stone work. They knew the mound, that was easier for them to construct the mounds, but they did not know stone work. These was hunters and gatherers, okay? Let me wake you niggas up today, okay? So this is Poverty Point, okay? And you can see again that the culture highly buff. I got the layout for all of that, okay? It's coming from the south and it's moving up it's coming from the Gulf of Mexico out the Delta region of the Mississippi River, and it's moving up. And you can see all the way at the top, Cahokia, 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 which is was the largest city in the Americas, you know, until the building of Philadelphia. Okay. Now, when we talk about the pyramid, we understand the outer casing is, or the American pyramid are built of, now I ain't gonna say the Olmec, built a small cut stone on a rubble core or a mound core. Some of the bigger pyramids had a rubble core, okay, where they just took a lot of the stones and piled it up, okay? But that's not freestanding structure, because you got support. You got support. You need help. So when you understand that this is elementary compared to the structures in Africa. So again, I'm gonna keep banging on niggas when they say that the American so-called pyramid, because a mound is not a fucking pyramid. Let's be clear about that. Okay, all you have to do is get enough people with buckets, and y'all motherfuckers keep digging the dirt and piling it in one area. And if you do it for 10 years, 15, then you will get a super large mound. Okay, that's what you get. Okay, but that's not a fucking pyramid. And I'm not saying that to, you know, shoot my people down, but I have to be clear, because a lot of people will say, oh, this dirt mound is the largest pyramid in the world, and that's bullshit. It's not a pyramid. It's not a freestanding structure, nor is this masonry, because in order to be a Masonic structure, you got to be using stone, granite, lime, or any of the variouses of stone. And so there is no stone on any of the North American mounds. Okay, most of the, you know, the mounds that had stone on it were either Olmec or the ones of the Inca, the Mayan, and the Aztec, who learned directly from the Olmec. Okay, now we talking here. Okay, now when you look at Saqqara to the left, you see what? You see that, you know, that square area, that's the ceremonial courtyard. And in that courtyard, there will be all type of functions, all type of ceremonies, and, you know, spiritual ceremonies that will happen. Now, if you go to the right, that's I think that's Menkaura's pyramid, and you see right in front of it is the mortuary temple. Okay, so it developed, even though the same amount of area is in front of the pyramid, the pyramids at Giza developed to a higher stage. So you see, that's actually a temple. And then you see the causeway, which is a long ceremonial walkway that leads from the funerary temple to the mortuary temple. Okay? And so you got two temples, and a lot of people say there's a big difference between the African pyramids and the American pyramids, that the African pyramids was tombs, and that the American pyramids were temples. And that's not true, because the African pyramids were also temples. They had two temples connected to the pyramid. The Olmec mound pyramids, they had to improvise based on the fact that they did not have the labor force, the advancement of a labor force as highly developed as the Nile Valley. So they improvised and did what they could But you understand, those are not freestanding structures. So now when you look at, this is Poverty Point. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you look at the mound, and I'm gonna show you even clearer, ball court mound. Okay, again, right there, showing you right there that the ball, that game, that's Olmec. Okay, and the mound you got, and leading down to the ceremonial courtyard. You understand what I'm saying? That's in front of the mound. Is actually the same thing. Now look at this. Now this is Cahokia. Now this is the mound to the left, and you see how I got the platform. It's not just it got platforms around the mound. So they did, they designed it that way. And if you look at Teotihuacan, which is it's no different. It got a core. If it's not a mound of dirt, it's a rubble. Okay, and you see the levels, you see the platforms. You understand what I'm saying? Around this pyramid, but it got an outer casing. Okay, it got an outer casing. So again, it's disingenuous for motherfuckers to think that these motherfuckers just built mounds without no blueprint. They wasn't as advanced as the Olmecs, nor was they as advanced as the Mayans or the Aztec or the Inca. They were not as advanced in dealing with masonry, dealing with the stone. So, they just put the dirt there. They obviously could make, platforms around the mound because you see it there. But when you look at that, if they would have added some stone outer casing, it could have damn near looked like Teotihuacan. It's no damn different. You see what I'm saying? And so again, this is Monte Alban. This is in Mexico, and as you can see, the one with the mound, you can see that the masonry is around the mound. Okay, and so they using the mound as support to bring out, to bring about the pyramid. And so at no time do you ever say that these pyramids are great as the African pyramid. They not even fucking pyramid. I have to say that because people will call anything a fucking pyramid today. This is not, a mound is not a pyramid. Let me keep it moving. Now, this is one of the earliest mounds. This is an Olmec mound. This is Tres Zapotes. So you got La Venta, and this is the earliest one right here. This is the earliest one right here, La Venta, and this is one of the other earliest ones, Tres Zapotes. These is Olmecs, and they would have had an outer casing too, but either it was removed, in which it had to be removed. They probably used it for just like they did in Egypt. They would take stones and use it on other projects. Okay, so let's make it clear that the Olmec started the mounds. Okay, they started the mound. Etowah, you see right here, Etowah, and you see here America's largest earthwork, Cahokia's Monk's Mound, and you see how I got the mound, and then they put a temple on the top, and that's where, the priests would go and perform, whatever rituals up there. But then you go to Palenque. Now you can see that's the same style. That's same style. This is Palenque, learned from the Olmecs. Okay, you see the mound is up under the earth. I say mason. It is masonry, but it's a mortar outer casing. That's exactly what it is. It's a mortar outer casing. Okay, so to show you that the Indians, because they was hunter-gatherer and they were far from the epicenter of higher learning, which was with the Olmecs in the heartland of Mexico, they created just the mound without the masonry. That's all that they did. But to say that these hunter-gatherers just started building cities without no blueprint and without no help is a bunch of bullshit. And I mean that to the bottom of my fucking heart. The fact is they do not want to connect a North American mound building, the Incas in South America, Mayan and Aztec, and every last one, with the African being the head, the educator, the king, the one that brought writing, masonry, architecture, all science, the calendar, the ball game, the jaguar, the Quetzalcoatl, the flying serpent, all of that is Olmec. And they continue. And so the Aztecs will tell you that they just came upon the sites. They had nothing to do with building none of them goddamn pyramids. Motherfucker, they came and settled on the site. Nobody was there when they got there. Okay, so you're looking right here, Cahokia. This is a recreation. And as you can see, a Palenque is the same with the temple on the top. It's obvious that American Indian mounds are duplicates of Olmec Mayan structures. Temple on top of the mound, except Olmec Mayan structures have a stone outer casing. Okay? Again, so when you look at Cahokia and you see how you got the pyramid and the mound with the temple on top, and then you see the large ceremonial area in front of the mound. It's gonna get clear. And even when they got smaller mounds around it, that's just like the Queen Pyramid, the smaller Queen Pyramid that would be located around the larger pyramid. Now, this is La Venta to the right. And so you see the mound, and we made it clear that the Olmec started mound building in the America. You see right in front, and it's on the oblong. It's a square we showed earlier. You know, it's on the square. So is Saqqara, and I'm going to show that. And you see the ceremonial area, courtyard in front of the Olmec mound, no different than the ceremonial area in front of Saqqara. I'm going to keep it moving. Now, this Teotihuacan. Now, you looking down. I'm going to clear it all up. You see you looking down from the top, and you see the square area in front of Teotihuacan, and you see the altar right dead center. That's the ceremonial area in front of that pyramid. I don't know what the fuck niggas is talking about when they say we ain't African, and they claiming a motherfucker that's borrowed everything they know from the African. Nigga, what is wrong with y'all? You know what I'm saying? That just showed me how confused you Negroes really are. Because y'all ain't never had a nigga like General Seti, who's a true priest of African history, who studied this for 30 years and know that all the ins and outs of how to prove what belonged to Africa. Okay? And so now look, see what I'm saying? Now this is Minkara, and you see the mortuary temple. That would have been, but they didn't develop these particular American pyramids in the same, they improvised. Okay, they improvised. But just like you see the small platforms around, that's no different than the Queen pyramids that would have been on the side of this pyramid. And you can see exactly where the mortuary temple in front of Minkara's pyramid is exactly the same area in front of Teotihuacan where the ceremonial altar is placed. It's no different. Okay, again, as you're looking from an aerial perspective on both pyramids, you see the ceremonial area is in the same exact place. Now, we're looking at the causeway, which they call the street of the dead, or the aisle of the dead, that leads which goes through that Teotihuacan pyramid complex, okay, which is the causeway. If you look at the African pyramid, you see the causeway is leading from the funerary temple down to the mortuary temple, and that's the road that you see leading up through the Teotihuacan pyramid complex. The Mississippi mounds are only the Olmec pyramids without the outer casing. Freestanding means any structure that does not rely on another existing structure for support. Okay? So when you look up freestanding structures, none of the fucking American pyramids will be on the list because it got a fucking mound in the middle. It's not a freestanding structure. Okay, so again, I want to ask you, if you say the Mayans what do they predate them in? It's a total different architectural design. And just because you can put up a mound, I wouldn't give a fuck if it was 100 stories high. That does not mean you can move one stone, 10 or 20 or 30-ton block. One. And it's 2 million on the pyramid of Giza. So I don't give a goddamn how many buckets of dirt you pile up and make a mound. That does show me how that gives you development into taking pyramid building to the Egypt. How the fuck do you develop into that level? You never, you don't even use that type of architectural know-how in the Americas at all. So for niggas to say that somehow the American pyramids predate what? What the fuck is you talking about? You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Okay? So the Egyptian pyramid is to a temple. I went over that. The pyramids of Giza reached full development with 2 temples, funerary and mortuary, connected by the causeway. Now, this is Holly Bluff. Okay, now you see how it's laid out on the rectangle, on the oblong, with the pyramid in the middle. Now you see the wall, the outer wall of the Saqqara pyramid complex, and also see that it's on the oblong. And you see the pyramid is right there in the middle, and from left to right, you see 2 large ceremonial courtyards on the Holly Bluff and on the pyramid of Saqqara. You got a south court and you had a north court. Okay, the north court is going to the right, and at the top is where you had the altar. Okay, again, so this is Chichen Itza. And so you see the pyramid there, and you see the courtyard, the ceremonial courtyard will be right, and that's where the priests perform their ceremony. And sometimes they would go to the top where the people would be down there, but the priests would go to the top of the pyramid. And so again, you looking, this is Cahokia, the way it's designed, and you can see without any doubt is designed from all the way. The Olmecs brought the design all the way from Africa to the Americas on a redesigned architectural plan, because they didn't have the skilled laborers. You understand what I'm saying? But the blueprint for the pyramid, again, showing you. Now, when you look at the bottom, ain't nobody gonna tell me they can't see that. You can't see that it's on the oblong. You can't see that the ceremonial courtyard in front of the pyramid is very disingenuous. And then when you look at Saqqara, they also had, it was more than one pyramid at the complex. Okay? Cahokia, Cahokia, you see, and then you look right in front of that pyramid, you can obviously see the ceremonial courtyard. You see the various satellite mounds around that pyramid. And if you look back and behind the pyramid of Saqqara, you would also see, and some of them wasn't even satellite pyramid. Satellite pyramids is your queen or your son who had a smaller pyramid around you. The other pyramid in the back is Seti and Unis. So these is other pharaohs that built in the same pyramid field as Zosha. Okay, now that's at the bottom is La Venta. That's the Olmec. And so the one at the top, is Cahokia right there in the Americas. So nobody gonna tell me they cannot see that the Olmec pyramid complex, the way that the whole complex is laid out on the oblong with the pyramid, with the ceremonial And then you can see at one end, you got the mound, and then at the other end, you got another platform. And that's the same design. If you look at the top at Cahokia, you'll see the larger temple on the north end and a smaller one on the south end. There's no doubt that this is the same pyramid complex, mound complex. Okay, let me come on up out of that, because I'm gonna stand into that on another level at a different time, because my time is up for the day. I'm gonna get back off into that, but I showed hands down, number one, that the mound building started with the Olmec, and and looking and showing that the Olmecs had a mound up under many of them so-called pyramids with an outer casing. So again, when you hear them talk about the Native American, they're gonna tell you they hunters and gatherers. They didn't have a writing system, and they didn't do too much, if not any, work with stone. So they couldn't put the outer casing around the mound. Clear that the Olmec started mound building. And how you prove it is the layout of the mound complex, how it's designed. And it's the same damn design that they got from the Olmecs, and the Olmecs brought it from Africa. And we can look at, it's much more that I'm gonna deal with, but it's only so much you could deal with in one video. And so you can see that all of those cultures of so-called Indians, they're not natives because they're not here. They're not from here. They came through the Bering Strait. And the key is, and I'm gonna end this, if it was originally their culture, then you would have seen them mounds first show up where they came in at. You would have seen the mounds start up there near Siberia, near Alaska, and they would have worked their way down south. It wouldn't have been starting south, moving fucking north, and they come from north. That's the way they came. So they did not come through them goddamn Bering Strait with that knowledge. That's bullshit. That's Olmec, and they brought it from Africa. So all you Negroes that say you not African, but you acclaim the very culture on a elementary level. You claim it Africa on the most elementary level, but you in denial. Come home, family. Come home. Always shoot for the sky. Don't motherfucking, you give credit, and I love my African ancestors. The Olmecs, I love them. I study them just as much as I study damn near any culture. The Nagas, the Nile Valley, the West African. I did the West African pyramid, and I'm gonna build on that. Okay, showing you that the pyramid culture is all across the Kushite world, and you can tell again. You can show the difference between the African Muslims, because when you go to West Africa, they build a mosque in the form of pyramid, where the Arabs take their architecture from the Romans. They get that. They got that fucking dome, the dome mosque. They got that shit from the Romans. But the Africans, the West Africans, showing you, and it's a lot more to show that, much more that they took from East Africa, because the West African is an East African and the East African is a West African. Africa, the similarities is what is 90% the same, and the other 10 is the uniqueness that who you are. But when you take African culture, damn near all across the world, damn near 85 to 90% is all the same. So quit saying, oh, we ain't from East. Shut the fuck up, nigga. You don't know nothing about what you talk. You's an opportunist, and you using frail argument. And when a nigga crack that shit and show it for what it is, that Kushite culture is the same all across the world. Nigga, ain't no more division in African people trying to separate us, saying, oh, we not Egypt, oh, we not Africans, and this, that, and the third. And the basic structure that's set up the whole fucking world is African. Wake up, family. Nah, I'm out of here. I'm about to go on over there to General Seti. Wait a minute, I'm on General Seti. What the fuck I'm talking about? I'm on General Seti. And I'm on General Seti. I'm on General Seti. No, I'm on Seti. Say what the fuck I'm talking about. I be talking all type of crazy ass shit. I'm on General Seti. So I'm about to, no, I'm on Seti. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm on Seti. I don't even know what damn page I'm on. Okay, but I'm about to go over here to the General Seti page, and we about to do this, Ethiopian Indian, be in the house. It's hot. Some shit you ain't seen on the Naga. Just some new shit. Okay, and it's hot, and it's on that same level, dealing with this architecture of the African people that prove hands down that we was in India. We laid that down. It's not it's not some fraudulent shit like the rest of these niggas is putting up. It's actual fact based on scientific facts and research. Have your ass in the place. Family, how y'all like that out there? Talk to me. How y'all like that out there? All right. Thanks, Patah. Ain't gonna be long, man, y'all. If y'all can run on over there to the general, you understand what I'm saying? I'm hot. I'm gonna work it. I'm gonna work it for about a good hour. Have y'all ass in the place. You're gonna want to see this. You're gonna want to see this. It's on some hot shit. Okay, family. That's right. That's all right. I'm gonna be touching back on it again. Don't worry, fam. This the General Suten Seti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge, bang on that wicked ass beast daily, liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.